So let's look at the calculator command in AutoCAD. This is one of those sneaky but useful commands that you will find yourself with some of the flaws that are in AutoCAD using. For example, when you're trying to use decimals, especially in the scale command or divide something with a decimal in it, AutoCAD will typically throw you an error. Well, this is one of those commands that you can use to get around it and help you figure out some things. Here I have two examples that I'm going to use to demonstrate how useful this command can be. So with this first one on the side here, I want to go ahead and scale this up. And what I'm going to do is first I'm going to use a simple scale, and I'm going to scale this distance up to 19. So I'm going to make my overall part whatever the scale comes out to be, and this value should turn to 19. Remember that when you're using the scale command, there are some kind of rules to it, and I'll show you what those rules are. The major rule of this command is going to be trying to figure out that scale factor. And if you can remember that your desired length divided by your current length, that will help you scale things a lot more efficiently. And this will also help you from pulling out your calculator, your manual or physical calculator that you have. And when you use the calculator command in AutoCAD, this will speed that up so much for you. So once again, remember, it's the desired length over the current length. Or if you want to think about it in some kind of slang term, it's what you want it to be over what it is. Okay, so back to this. Let's go ahead and use the scale command, which is located here. And then I'm going to select the object that I want to scale. And I'm just going to put a window around it. So I'm just going to highlight and just put one window around everything. And hit enter to go to the next step. And then I'll select my base point, which is here. And now I want that value to be 19. So remember, it's the desired length, which is 19, divided by what it currently is, which is 17. And if I hit the enter button, you will see that my object will scale uniformly to that 19. All right. So now the problem comes in is that if I wanted to use a decimal, that was perfectly fine with whole numbers. But let's say now that we want that 19 to go back to maybe 17.5. So if I go to the scale command, and I'm just going to select it, and do everything that I did before, I'll select the exact same base point. And now if I put my desired length, which is 17.5, and I divide that by 19, which is the current length of it now, once I hit enter, AutoCAD should give you an error. I'll do that again just so I'll see the error come up, and it will say that, hey, it can't figure that out for me. What you have to do is invoke a command while you're inside of a command. So use the apostrophe button and then type in CAL. The CAL is just saying that I'm inside the scale command, but I'm going to use a calculator. So it's the apostrophe that says stay in this command, but use this other command. Once you hit enter, it's going to ask you for an expression. And here I can type in my 17.5 divided by 19. And once I hit enter, you will see that that part will scale. So that's very useful to do when you're in the scale command. Another way I typically will use this calculator command is that when I'm trying to figure out the length of something. So if I'm creating these lines and I'm drawing a line here going to 10, and then I go up a distance of 3, and then I come over, you can easily do the math in your head and see that that's 5.75. And then we're going to go up a distance of 2, but then I have to figure out how long is this line. Well, that can be easily determined if you want to pull out a manual calculator, or if I'm in the line command and I'm just going to start from this point here where I'm going up a distance of 2. So I'm in the line command, click here, I'll go up a distance of 2, and then I want to go this direction. Well, I don't know that unless you want to do the math in your head, you can figure it out. But if I use the apostrophe again, that tells me to stay inside the line command. Type in calculator or CAL, enter. And now I can type in the expression of 22.5 minus the 15.75. And once I hit the enter button, you will see that it will calculate that value, which is 6.75. The key that you have to remember when you're utilizing this is that when I'm doing the line command on this one, I'll point here and I'll go up in that direction that I want to go. Just like I did before, I'll type in 2. And make sure that you have this already previewing going that direction that you want to go before you start typing in the apostrophe CAL, enter, and then you will type in your expression, which is 22.5 minus 15.75. All right, one last thing that you can do on this is that you can get to certain locations, and inside the calculator you can use O-snaps to help get to a point. What I mean by that is it's easy enough to get to the midpoint of this line, but say that I wanted to get to a point between the midpoint of this line and this endpoint. So where is exactly the middle between those 2 points where I want to start my line? So if I go to the line command, and you can easily select the toolbar at the top, or you can just type L, enter. And now it's asking me to specify that first point. Well, I don't know where it's set exactly, but I know where I want it to be. So I'll type in calculator, or apostrophe CAL, enter. Here I'm going to use a parentheses and I'm going to type in END, which is the shortcut for an endpoint, plus MID, which is the shortcut for the midpoint. I'll close the parentheses and I'll divide both of those values by 2, and then I'll hit enter. So it's asking me to specify my first endpoint, which is here. Now it's going to ask me to get to the midpoint, which is on this line, and you will see that it will start it directly in the middle of that. If you want to check that distance, since that line is 10 long, we know that half of that is 5, and then half of 5 should be 2.5. So if I put a measurement on this line, so from this endpoint to this endpoint, you will see indeed that that is 2.5 away. So you can use the calculator command to get you numerical values, or you can use it to get locations. So I hope this was very useful to you. I find myself using this command a lot, and I want to thank you again for watching.